Banking is changing, and banks must transform faster than ever. In the future, banks will need to shift focus from financial services to financial betterment. They'll embed AI and predictive insights to anticipate what customers need before they do. Banks will maximize profitability and sustainability and enable individuals and businesses to make a positive impact on the world. Banks will lend money, but also time, resources, and knowledge. In the future, your bank must be instinctive or go extinct. Start your transformation now.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me today. I'm Mark Sullivan with Genpact. It's a pleasure to be in front of what I consider to be the disruptors of an industry that, frankly, needs to be disrupted. So thank you for having me. Today I'm going to talk about a few things. We did a study called Banking in the Age of Instinct, and we talked to our clients, we talked to journalists, we talked to analysts, we talked to a lot of you in the fintech community to think about where are we going as a financial services industry, and what's going to happen to the banks, what are the implications on fintechs, even the tech fins, and how this is going to evolve. So there's a lot of prediction in the banking industry right now. A lot of people with crystal balls who I have an enormous amount of respect for that study this industry, that talk about where it's going and why it's going in a certain direction and how it's going to be disrupted. I'm not here with a crystal ball today to talk to any of you about the answer. I don't have an answer. But the study did reveal some common trends that we would like to talk about and some macro situations that are important to understand that will help these common trends and goals be achieved. So if you look at these common areas of focus that our clients, all of you, tend to think about in the course of your day as you launch companies, as you seek to be understood, as you seek to be found in places like this, we see companies trying to connect differently, trying to predict differently, and trying to adapt differently. And those are big macro words that talk about a lot of specific things. If you want to talk about connecting, it's about connecting internally within a bank. How do we work within our silos? It's about connecting externally with new partners that perhaps we've never engaged with before. It's about connecting differently to our customers. How do we serve them? How do we create better experiences for them? The prediction component, it's about a variety of things, but where do I predict? How do I understand what my customers' needs are going to be? How do I take advantage of emerging technology in a way that's compelling and know where my prediction points are so that I can create advantage? And then adapt. How do I possibly retrain and retool my workforce for an incredibly dynamic, changing environment that is changing every single day? You know, if we look back 3 or 4 years at Finovate and talk about the companies that were here, what they did, how they did it, whether they survived, it was an entirely different conversation than the one that we're having today, because the change is so rapid and so aggressive at this time. Talking about connecting, there's a couple examples I'll use for each of these just to highlight where I think this is happening well. If you look at Venmo, you look at PayPal, they're connected. They have a great experience. All of you that transfer money to your kids at college or to your kids in general via Venmo understand that. It's pretty seamless. So they're connected to you. They're also connected to your bank. PayPal is also connected to your bank. So in some ways, they're connected in a competitive way to an alternative, but working together in the same way. So it's very important to understand that you've got to connect. You've got to plug into an ecosystem that's dynamic and changing every single day and be in a position to do that well. On the predict side, how many of you have had the fraud alerts that come into your phone? You know, this is company X and we're concerned about a transaction on your credit card. They're a little annoying, and you've got to take action there to remediate against some concern, but they're ahead of it, right? The banks are a little bit ahead of it, and they're making you aware of a situation that, while a little disruptive, helps build trust between that organization to make sure that your data is used effectively, that their product is used effectively, and that you can do things properly with the product that's at hand. If I look at Adapt, the changes in the workforce are just overwhelming. All of you are trying to attract top talent. All of the banks are trying to attract top talent. There are choices. The war for talent is real. And so how you retrain the talent that you have, having a strategy for doing that, leveraging the collective wisdom of your organization, and attracting the best and brightest talent in the industry might be the most important component to all of this, as long as you're able to do that effectively. So I don't think there's anything more important than that. If we get this right, over the next few years, I think financial services is going to be much better than it is today. Much better. It's better today than it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, it was better than it was 5 years before that. So it's incrementally improving, but at the end of the day, I think you'll see a model that emerges that's about the betterment of a customer, that's about improving your financial well-being versus maximizing your net interest income, for example, in the banking industry. And they're in that shift right now to understand what are the new revenue models that they'll adhere to that take advantage of that financial betterment concern in the marketplace and how to drive that. All of you are trying to do that. You're all trying to connect. You're all trying to predict. You're all trying to adapt. You all have gotten up here today or tomorrow or whenever and talk about your fancy platform, your amazing, incredible API, how connected you really are, how seamless your product might be. There's so many point solutions at a conference like this. But how you think of that in the broader continuum matters, and how you think bigger than that in order to succeed on all those concerns, we think is critically important. In the study that we looked at, most of the feedback we got was, we're all trying to do these things, but there's a bigger picture that if we understand it well, allows us to do all of those things better and more successfully. So let's talk about that bigger picture. One of the big macro focus areas was just a relentless pursuit on optimized personal reality. What do we mean by that? How do I create bespoke, personal, financial products for you? Not for a segment, not for a group, not for an industry, but for you. And the harder you push towards making the experience in financial services about the individual, about the specifics of that individual, the more success we believe you will have. But frankly, the banks aren't good at this. They're trying, but they're nowhere near what they aspire to be, and they've been trying to do this for years. Obviously, with the emerging technology that's available today, there's incremental improvements and things are improving, but there's an awfully long way to go before this gets significantly better. The other one is ethical impact. Digital trust matters. There's a lot of data in this industry. And understanding how to use that data and protect that data and secure that data on behalf of your customers really does matter. Secondly, giving customers a choice on how to manage themselves based on their own values. If they want to restrict their ability to buy alcohol or to gamble or whatever they want to do, they can now do that. They can manage their credit card, or they can do different things to prevent them from transacting in those types of areas. A little self-governance. That's different from what we used to have, where any transaction matters, it doesn't matter, because volume is king. The more transactions, the more money we're going to make. This is more about the value that's added back to the customer and the trust that's created there. We think that's absolutely critically important. The last big piece is whole system planning. What is your purpose? I've sat here this morning and I've listened to a lot of companies get up and talk about, we've got a great onboarding solution, we've got a great data solution, we've got an answer to some sort of problem, maybe it's AML, risk compliance, but what is the purpose of your company? What do you really want to do? What is your impact on the world that you might have that changes who you are? Who is the DNA of your company? We think this is a critical component because, as I mentioned before, your ability to attract talent is everything in this industry. We believe that the top talent is looking for an answer to this question when they engage with you. Certainly, they want to understand your technology. Why is that different? They want to understand how you operate, how you make money, how they're going to make money, perhaps. But they also want to understand what's your big picture, what's your impact on the community, what's your impact on the world, what do you aspire to do beyond the transactions that you're managing or the products that you are facilitating. So we think looking at these bigger pictures, the ethical impacts, the whole system planning, and the like really does change your success in the way in which you connect, predict, and adapt, which is what we're all trying to do. So it's kind of a big picture, and there's some implications around all of that. Implications for the tech fins. These are, when I say tech fin, who am I referring to? The big companies, the Amazons, the Apples, the Googles, the Facebooks. A lot of money, a lot of capital, really good at connecting, predicting, and adapting. A lot of people want to work there, a lot of success, right? So, but there's implications because while they are experts at understanding how to leverage data, there's obviously some concerns. There's a little bit of a creepy factor that sneaks in. How are you using my data? Is there a privacy concern that I need to worry about? You know so much about me that I'm wondering how you know that and where you learned that, and that gives me some pause. Secondly, you don't have a banking license, and you've never met a bank regulator or a compliance official to understand what might be required for you to succeed in the financial services industry. Impact on the fintechs. You guys are born in the cloud. You guys are new. You're agile. You got great engineering capability. You move quickly. You attract great talent. You're pretty darn good at connecting, predicting, and adapting. But you want to be found. The customers haven't found you yet. And so you're here because you're trying to be discovered. You're trying to get the capital to drive your company in the right direction. You're trying to make a splash to be known so that you can drive volume and customers into your company and make a difference. We think that there's a huge opportunity, obviously, to partner here. What's the punchline for the fintechs? Is partner, partner, partner. The banks need you. There's so much resistance to change there that they need the innovation that you're driving. They need those great ideas. Sometimes they don't understand that they need it, but they certainly do need it. So the partnering opportunities are magnificent there. And then the banks. The banks are slow, right? They want to evolve. They love to evolve quickly. They'd love to be like the fintechs. They'd love to be able to manage their data like the tech fins, but they're just slow in how they do that. The immune system is incredible in the banks. Right? Here's a great idea. We can't do that because it didn't work 3 years ago. The technology's changed since then. We can't do that because the regulator says we can't. Have you talked to the regulator? No, we don't want to do that either. There's a lot of reasons why the pace of change in the banking industry is really slow. It used to be considered the tech leader, out in front. You know, want to go find great technology, go see a bank. Want to go find great innovation, go see a bank. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think they're trying, and there's some excellence that is happening, but they need to be stimulated by the disruptors, frankly, that are in this room, that are doing a lot within this industry. I'm with Genpact. We transform companies. We transform financial services companies. We have over 200 companies around the world in 22 countries. So I have a unique position to see in the windows of a lot of these organizations and understand what they're trying to do and how they're trying to do that, how they're trying to solve the challenges that I just mentioned. We'd love for you to go look at our study, Banking in the Age of Instinct. We'd love your feedback on that. It's important. We'd love for you to participate in that next year as we continue to do that. And we'd love for you to just check out Genpact. We're different from what you might believe, and we think we could have a great impact on your company. Thank you for your time. We will be available downstairs if you want to engage and have any questions whatsoever. Thank you.